Welcome back to another episode of Platinum Pussy with your host, Sarish Khan. Now, some of you sent me messages last Wednesday around 8 or 9 a.m. asking, is there no episode today? And I have to say, you guys are the realest. I know exactly who you are, and thank you so much for supporting me. The rest of you, I'm still here for you. That's okay. So I was violently sick for the past 2 weeks. And when I recorded the last episode, I had the onset of like fatigue and cold and fever. And I thought it would break in a few days, but it took 2 weeks. And I just was not in a space to record an episode for you guys, especially one that is about goal setting, because I needed a break. And I was way too overwhelmed. I'm still on the come down, not fully in the clear. And, that's why I'm sitting here comfortably in my sweatshirt and hair pulled back. And I'm just going to talk to you guys today. So let's get into it. Now, most of the goal setting stuff you see out there is always going to talk about like these 90-day program, a 30-day reset, like how to figure out your purpose in like 10 steps or something. And some of those things are really great. I've tried a couple and I might link a few, but there's no secret sauce. There's no fast track way to reaching your goals. It takes time, it takes commitment, and it takes clarity. Today, I want to talk about the clarity portion of reaching your goals before you even get into this like 5-year plan or 1-year plan or 90-day reset. You need to get so clear on your life. You need to get clear on your mindset. You need to get clear about your physical goals, your physical health, and you need to know what's in your bank account. In order to get anywhere in life, you need to get right on your mind, your body, and your bank account. There's no way around it. So before we even talk about purpose, let's declutter your mind. Okay. There's so much going on in the world. We have a million thoughts going on at any given time, whether it's relationship, work, money, travel, friends, international relations, politics. Like it's just a lot. And we're constantly stimulated. So here's what you can do to keep things in control. Number one, let's start with your social media. Okay. I know a lot of people use social media as like something that's not very serious. And you go to an event, you meet people, and it's like, what's your Instagram? Add me on Instagram. You're going to log in and you're going to open your app and you're going to start seeing people's stories and people's posts, and there's an algorithm, and whatever you watch, it will show you more of. So you need to be so specific about who you want getting access to your mind. For me, I'm very particular about who I follow. I'm thoughtful about the organizations that I'm following and, just what type of content they're putting out there. You can be friends with somebody. You can have, a professional relationship with someone, or even like have somebody who's an acquaintance, even a close friends. I literally have friends that I don't check what they're posting because their life does not align with where I'm at right now. So it's not going to serve me. So the first thing I want you to do is open up your Instagram, open up your TikTok, and run through the list of people you're following. Unless it's your family or your best friend or like a work-related person that you can't really remove them, we'll get to what you can do. But if there are people that you're following that you've had no interaction with in the last 6 months at all, like they're not liking your posts, you're not engaging with their posts, they're not really posting anything that's of value to you, just remove them. Like, I know some people have such a hard time with this because they're like, oh, I don't want to offend them, or like they'll think I'm mad at them. You haven't talked to this person in 6 months. Like they're adding nothing to your life. Like, you guys, this is about you. This is about clearing your mind. And trust me, subconsciously, when you're seeing someone's like partying with the girlfriends, or like, next Hawaii trip, or like Bahamas, or like whatever, wherever they're going, if that's not where you're at, you don't want to be seeing that all the time, because you will get FOMO. Like, nobody is above it. I'm not above it. And that's why I take the time to kind of filter and clean my Instagram every 6 months. I'm not a big TikToker, so that's not really something that affects me, but you need to get on there and clear out that space. And maybe you can add a few accounts that will give you inspiration. Like, if you're trying to get on top of your fitness, maybe follow 2 or 3 fitness influencers and content creators that are creating the type of content that's going to inspire you. If you really are concerned about somebody getting offended, or it's a sensitive situation, you can just mute their stories and mute their posts, and they will never know. It'll be our secret. No one's going to find out. Outside of just social media, who are you surrounding yourself with? Your network is your net worth. This is something that's been said a million times. I didn't come up with it, and there's so much truth to it, because the ideas that people around you have, their values, their grit, their ambition, you're going to feed into that. And if you're around people who uplift you, who have similar goals as you, similar mindset, it's going to motivate you even more. Whereas if you're around people who just are in a completely different phase of life, and there's nothing wrong with that, but if they're just completely on a different path, there's just not a lot of alignment. And it doesn't mean you need to cut them out of your life completely, but you need to be mindful of the amount of time you're spending with them. For example, some of my closest friends are married with kids. They're still my close friends. I value their opinion. I value their perspective on a lot of things in life. But I keep a distance when it comes to where I'm at with my relationships, with, socializing, with how I manage my time, because our lives just don't look similar at all. And there's a time and place for everyone in your life, but you need to surround yourself with people who are going to serve you the most right now, and be there for your friends. Like, be the person who's reliable, and be the person that is there one phone call for a handful of people, so long as they're going to be there for you as well. But if you're in a business mindset, let's say, because that's where I'm at right now, I'm building a business, I'm focused on growth, I'm also focused on keeping my mental health intact and decompressing. So I want to be around people, particularly women, who are in growth phase. I want to be around women who are building something from scratch, who are dealing with insecurities and doubts and burnout, so we can support each other and we can talk about, like, how are you managing your time? How are you managing your health? How are you managing your hormones through this whole process? So you need to be around that, because that's the advice you need. You're in the same playing field. Now, I also want to caution you from being around people who are too many steps ahead of you. So sometimes we want to have role models, and there's people we look up to, and they have accomplished the thing that we want so bad in life right now. They're already there. But if you are a startup and your role model is someone who's, a multi-million-dollar business owner, and they're already 5 years into their journey, they're too far removed from the stage of the process that you're in right now. So they don't remember what it feels like to be there, because they've already achieved the level of success. So what's going to be best for you when you're looking for people to be inspired by, outside of just your friends, is to surround yourself with people who are maybe 1 or 2 or 3 steps ahead of you. Is that's going to give you some clarity on, like, where you can go, and also, like, what's possible, right? Because you're already on that track. So, seeing that, all right, in a year from now, I can be where she is. And, mimic the lifestyle that they have right now, mimic how they manage their time, like the places they go, how they move in the world, because that's where you're headed. The last thing about decluttering your mind, I brought this up in past episodes and I want to bring it up again. Therapy. You guys, I am a huge proponent of therapy. I have been in therapy on and off for the past 8 years, I would say. And it's been in different phases of my life. It sometimes was just like personal things I wanted to figure out as a woman, or relationship issues, career goals, just a span of different things I needed to work through. And we're always kind of working through things in life. But here's where I want to caution you. I feel like a lot of people get stuck in the loop of figuring out what's wrong with them, figuring out their childhood trauma and trying to unpack every single detail of what happened to them, why it happened to them, why it's justified that, they feel less than, or they feel insecure, they feel unloved. And I want to urge you to take therapy as a tool to get to know yourself, right? So get clarity on who you are and what brought you to the point that you're at in your life right now, but then move on from it, okay? Turn it into action. Like if my sessions are revealing to me that I have daddy issues, for example, I do not, maybe, I'm not sure, but let's just say it's like I have this need to feel, protected and safeguarded by a man. Great. I know where that is coming from. Well, what am I going to do about it? That doesn't mean I'm just going to go into the next relationship and say, well, I have daddy issues and I need to be protected, so you need to do it for me. You can advocate for yourself and you can ask for your needs so the other person understands you better, but turn it into actions. Like, what are ways that you can make yourself feel safe? I know one thing that really works for me is being organized. It might not make sense to you guys how that relates to daddy issues, but when I am organized, when I know what my week looks like ahead, I have a schedule, I have a calendar, I'm not scattered. Like I don't have this need for someone to like step in and take control of my life. So that is a core need for me. And it probably stems from kind of feeling like I can't lean on somebody to take care of me. And now, to be clear, my mom was fucking amazing and took care of me really well, but she is one person. And when you have one parent, whether it's a father or a mother, you lose that, the oversight and sort of the support of having two parents present. And that's something I've kind of struggled with, is like I've had to do a lot of things on my own and I have a hard time depending on other people. So for me, I am working on letting other people kind of step in and help me with things and all of that. But I always have this fear that someone's not going to show up for me or they're not going to keep their promise. And oh my gosh, especially in LA, gosh, okay. I have struggled with this the most. Like when you tell somebody, hey, can you help me set up my podcast equipment on Sunday at 2 p.m.? You have to check in with them at least twice, like 24 hours before, 2 hours before, 20 minutes before, just to make sure they're still going to show up. And I hate it. Like we need to do better, because I've been in LA almost 4 years now and I want to have a sense of belonging. I do live here, and let's do better at keeping our commitments, first of all. But second, in order for me to be able to ease some of my stress and tension, one, I have to be super, super organized so I know exactly what my day looks like and I haven't overbooked myself when I have something important. That way, even if somebody doesn't show up, I have enough wiggle room in the day that I can figure out a backup or I can figure out how to do it myself. So in a weird way, it helps me with some of my triggers and issues. Now, your triggers, issues might be completely different than mine, and I don't have a solution for every single thing that people are going through. But I'm I'm saying this to not just dwell on problems of the past, like figure them out, put it into action, find solutions, and move on. Speaking of moving on, let's talk about our bodies. I tend to be really hard on myself. Even if I'm not doing well, I will still try my best to show up and keep my commitments and stay on track and stay on schedule. But sometimes you just need to give your body rest. That rest is not just physical rest, it's also mental rest, and it's a moment to pause. I cannot tell you how much I needed the break that I had last week. And trust me, I did not do anything. I was sitting on the couch and trying from time to time, maybe to read a book, to watch a show. I ordered in all week. I took naps all week. When I wasn't coughing my lungs out, I went to get a massage, took care of myself, and just let things be, you know? So I think you need to really take care of your body and listen to your body. And this is even so much more important for women because of our hormones and our cycle and the stress that it's putting on our body already without us even adding to the tension. Like our body is constantly going through these changes, and the first thing to do is knowing your cycle. And we're going to talk about how to manage stress and what's going on with your body in different hormonal phases on another episode. But just in the meantime, I mean, I was told about this app by a younger girl, and I had no idea it existed. It's called Flow. And no, this is not sponsored by them, although really they should sponsor me. But the Flow app is great. It tracks your cycle, but it also tells you where you are on, you know, your 28-day hormonal cycle, and like what is normal with your age and your weight, and what you should be feeling in, you know, your ovulation phase, and just, you know, kind of tracking individually based on like past cycles, like what happened in the past and what's likely to happen in the next few days, or what you should expect. And it's been immensely helpful because in a way, I already know, okay, my mood was at like 30% yesterday. My energy level was at like 80%. I have been very irritable, or today I feel really calm. Today I feel really energized. And once you've been kind of following that for a month or two, you'll start to learn what the cadence is of your own body. And so you can plan ahead. So when you want to plan a really big event or a really difficult workout, let's say, or, you know, it's like a study day, you can plan it according to, you know, your moods from the past. Now, it's not an exact science. It could change like month to month and depending on what other things are going on in your life, but it's a really, really good starting point. So I highly recommend that you go download that app. And you guys, you can add your partner to the app. So they get, this is so cool. They get reminders of where you're at. So for example, like, I think it's like, let's say you're like in day 4 of your period, and depending on like what you logged about your mood that day and like how your body's feeling, it'll give your partner suggestions of like what they can do to make you feel better. Like, you know, maybe the type of food that would be comforting to you, or like things to say, or just, you know, it's really fun. It's really cool. I think it's fun. And it has these cool little quizzes as well, and you can send compliments. You guys got to check it out. It's like I'm in love with it, and I cannot believe I didn't find it earlier. Other things to keep in mind to get your body right is like the basics of diet, nutrition, get your protein, get your fiber. These are things you can like look up very, very easily. There's so much information out there. I'm not a nutrition and, you know, workout expert, but just the basics of eating right, getting physical activity, physical movement. I haven't been doing that a lot lately because I've been so overwhelmed with like work, podcast, like, sharing things on social, going to events, networking, all of that. Oh, I haven't been on top of it, but let's not make working out at the gym and lifting weights the only thing that you can do. I'm a part of these different groups in like WhatsApp and Facebook, which I know it's like Facebook's like ancient, but it's still a good space for having like community and different, purpose driven groups, I guess. So time to time they'll have events like, I don't know, there's like pickleball, which I'm horrible at, but it's physical activity, it's movement, it's good for your body, it's good for your soul, it's good for your mind, and it builds community. I've gone to some really random things, especially activities that I wouldn't normally do, and met like one cool person, which is more than enough. So I think getting creative about getting movement in your body, I will always promote dance as like the best source of, expressing yourself and getting a workout and being in the right mindset. Just like the normal things of keeping your body intact. Like, let's not forget them. Now, I know I said this episode is about goal setting and you guys are probably like, okay, why the fuck are we talking about like exercise and working out and like, knowing your hormonal cycles? Because if your mind isn't clear, if your body doesn't have energy, like what goals are you going to accomplish? You're going to burn out. You're going to burn out in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Like goals are long term. I'm telling you, in order to reach any goal, you need to first start from a clean slate. And that means a place of stability, right? And go to sound baths, go to meditations or whatever it is, you need to figure it out though. Don't just be random about it. Like log what makes you feel good in the week. Log like when you're down and when you're unwell, what is something that you can do physically that is going to bring you back to yourself and that's going to make you energized enough to start hustling again, to get out there and start following your passions. And don't forget to like also be sexually satisfied, you guys. Like, you need that physical stimulation to be awakened. And it doesn't always need to be with a man. In fact, most of the time it doesn't need to be with a man. I don't need to teach you ways of being physically stimulated on your own, but go like let off some steam and get your juices flowing because that's the biggest thing that's going to get you right, in my opinion. So don't neglect that portion of, getting your body right. Okay, so you've cleared your mind, you've got your body right. What's next? It is your bank account. I used to be really bad at managing money because I used to have this mindset that I don't want to think about money. I don't ever want to look at the bill. Like if I go out to dinner, I just want to like drop my card and not have to think about money. And for a certain point in my life, that was the case. I didn't have a lot of responsibilities. I didn't have a lot of like outside bills or, businesses that I was trying to build that I had to put money into. And so, for me, it was like going to events, going to shows, going out to dinner. And I wasn't really thinking about budgeting or managing my money. And I felt like that was like the ultimate freedom, is to just not ever have to think about it. And that was a completely wrong mindset, because the reason I wasn't paying attention to my money and I didn't have any sort of idea of my finances and what the split is between where my money is going, whether it's going into wellness or health or leisure or just partying, it's because my dreams weren't big enough. Because when you have big dreams, you need a lot more resources. So having an extra like 2 grand, 5 grand, 10 grand a month is not going to be enough when you want to build something that's so vast, when you want to invest in your future, when you want to have generational wealth for your children. Your need to focus on your finances is going to be, it's just going to be automatic. It's going to be natural. You're going to think about money a lot more. So I say this because when I transitioned into thinking about like prioritizing more things in life, whether it was like wanting to buy a home for myself or for my family, or, you know, just investing in things that were gonna last me a long time, I started getting a little bit stressed because the amount of income that felt like more than enough to me in the past, now all of a sudden didn't feel enough. And I immediately just wanted to work more, you know, how can I quickly increase my income? And it didn't make me feel good because it made me feel less than, you know, all of a sudden the life that I had that felt so vast and free felt restricting. So I want you to change your mindset around money, because money is just a resource for all the things you want to do. And when you find yourself in a position where you're feeling like you want more money, first of all, it's not a bad thing. You don't need to feel shame for it. And you can still be grounded and humble and want more money for the things you want to do. So first, no shame, want what you want, but recognize, why do you want this money? Why are you feeling like what you have is not enough? And it's usually because you have big dreams and big goals. And in order to achieve those goals and clear out space for increasing your income and committing more time to having growth, you have to get so nitty-gritty and detailed about your bank account. Now, there's tons of apps out there. Copilot has an app. I know Rocket Money, I think it's Rocket Money. Rocket Money has an app. There's just, most banks have these apps as well, but there's apps that will give you sort of this like pie chart split of where your money is going, whether it's like entertainment, food, leisure, rent, car, utilities, bills, all of that. So first, like, get clear on what percentage of your income is going to certain activities. Once you get clear on that, I want you to take a few hours. I do this on an Excel sheet. I'm super type A and I have tons of different columns and it's color coded, and you guys don't need to do that, but do your version of like what is going to give you clarity so you can track your spending every month. List out like the bare minimum. Like, what is your bare minimum for survival? And this is going to be things like your rent, your car payment, your health insurance. This is not like memberships that you have. So this is not like your gym membership or subscriptions. This is just the very, very essential things that you need to survive, right? So for me, when I track this, I do it at the very, very bare minimum, and I slot a budget for food, obviously, because you need that to survive. Once you have that figured out, then from there, you need to add on the things that are going to help you with your goals. So one of my goals this year is getting really, really strong. I've gained like, gosh, like, I don't know, 10 or 12 pounds in the past like 6 months for various reasons, like stress. Part of it is from egg freezing. I froze my eggs earlier this year because, you know, I want to have a baby, but I haven't exactly landed on the baby daddy yet. So I want to make sure I have an insurance policy for being a mom, which is something I know I want to my core. So I've gained a bit of weight, and I'm not bothered by the size of my body, but what does bother me is I don't have the same amount of strength that I used to have. So I I wouldn't really get a lot of fatigue from doing like physical activities or even like chores or moving things. Like I was super active and I just don't feel that strong anymore. So one of my goals is that I want to get to the same level of strength that I was before. And for that, I need to budget a part of my income to my health. And I've spent quite a bit of money this year on my health, to be honest. Like partly in like working out, memberships, wellness studios, but also like doctor's visits, like scans and like, all of the luxurious things you can do to understand what's going on in your body and how you can like be at an optimal level. Like that's been a high priority for me. So I have a pretty decent budget for that. And I'm focused on that because I'm working so much right now and I can't let myself get sick and be fatigued and not be able to show up in spaces where I need to have FaceTime with people, right? So again, I'm talking to you guys about this because we tend to jump to the goal and like what we want to achieve. Like I need to meet these 5 people at a networking event. Okay, well, if your health is suffering and you don't have good energy, you're going to show up there and you're going to be forgettable, right? So the way to have this sort of like confidence and freedom and showing up with your platinum pussy energy is clearing your mind, is having a healthy body, like whatever's going to energize you. And also knowing your finances so you're not in a place of desperation. Like you know exactly what you can give up for the next 6 months to gain something in the next 6 months, right? So much of the focus when it comes to achieving your goals or having a plan for yourself is on what else do you need to be doing? And so often I hear people ask the question, like, what else can I add to my life? Like, I'm gonna go start taking this course, or I'm gonna join this membership, or I need to add like whatever it is. I can't think of like every single thing, but like people are always like, what do I need to add in my life to excel? Like, what am I not doing? And the real question is, what do you need to remove from your life? When your life is so full that you're not finding time for yourself, adding something else on is not going to make anything better. So before you try to think of where you want to be in the next year, pause and do a life audit. I really think you need to take 30 days to do a life audit. Some people will try to rush the process and get through it in like a day or two. And I've done courses where they, kind of rush through that in like 3 days or 4 days. And there's no way you can know what your day-to-day life looks like in such a small, time frame, because you really need to see how you're moving in the world over a bit of an extended period of time. And what I say when you're doing this life audit, like give yourself a 30-day life audit. Don't change anything. Don't try to manipulate the audit. Like don't try to be on your best behavior for 30 days when you're doing this life audit, because that is like being the guy who love bombs you in the beginning and then just like removes himself. And then you're just kind of constantly doing the push and pull. So it's the same thing you're going to be doing with your life and your ambitions. Is if you're just like 30 days, I'm going to go all in, you're not being honest with where you're at. You're not being honest with where you're at in your life and what's going to be sustainable. So for 30 days, just be observant. What time of the day do you wake up? What time do you go to bed? How many social events do you go to in a week? Who are the people you're communicating with constantly? Who's sliding into your DMs? Who are you entertaining who's sliding into your DMs? What type of content are you drawn to? What type of spaces are you showing up in? Who are the people who are giving you positive energy? Who are people who are draining your energy? What are activities that make you feel whole? What are activities that, leave you drained? Just take account of all of that. Take account of the things that make you really happy and how much they cost you, because those are the things you're going to want to keep. And take account of how much money you're spending, how much time you're spending with people and going to places that are leaving you drained, that are adding nothing to your life. And those are the things that need to go. Like, I'm sorry you've been friends with somebody for, I don't know, 5 years or 6 years, and you don't need to be available to pick up their call all the time, and they're just like venting to you about their life. Like, no, like, what, it needs to be an even exchange. And sometimes things need to just go on a pause. So just observe the things that you're doing, write it down, take note. And at the end of the 30 days, that's when you start to assess. That's when you start to assess what you need to cut down on, what you need to put more energy into. And that is when you start goal setting, because you know what your zero is. You know how many hours a week you have to commit to a new skill, to commit to a new business, to a new partner, like any of it. You need to know what your starting point is, because one of your goals could be that you want to have a long-term relationship, you want to get married, and you want to have kids. Is your life so full and crammed that there's no space for another person? You got to audit that, right? Like, if you're saying you want to have a partner, you want to take care of them, you want them to take care of you, and really you only have like 5 hours available a week, and you don't have the mental capacity to give someone else your energy, you're not ready for that relationship. So you need to clear out space, right? You need to clear out space to involve someone else in your life and be committed to their life as well. Once you have done this life audit, I want you to ask yourself one question. We have made finding your purpose this like extremely difficult journey, and it's not. So I want you to ask yourself one question, and one question only. What is the thing that pains you the most in your life? I'm going to say that again. What is the thing that pains you the most in your life? Most people's purpose is born in something that causes them pain. Even if the thing that they're pursuing is something that they love, it's still coming from a place of pain. And I'm not trying to make this like some sad, deep, dark thing, but it's just the truth. My love for dance comes from my pain of not being able to express myself, right? So dance is the thing that I use to express that, to live in different characters, to live in different worlds and alter egos. But the need and the love for dance is born from the inability to express that in my youth as a teenager, because a lot of times it was shunned, or it was too sexual and it wasn't acceptable. So I want you to think about your pain points. And you might have multiple, that's okay. But what is the thing that bothers you the most? What is like the repeated cycle? Like when you go watch a movie, what are the themes that really hit your soul and really affect you, and are the things that like you keep thinking about when you go home? I know for me, anytime I see a movie that is about women being suppressed, being taken advantage of, it boils my blood. And that's why I do what I do. For me, like Platinum Pussy, women feeling empowered and being able to speak up the way they need to, and without the fear that it's going to harm them in some way, it's just like, it's like to my core, it's a thing that bothers me. It irks me every single time, whether I'm seeing it in person, in somebody's interaction, whether I see it in a movie, and whether I experience it personally, because I still experience it. And I know that it just shakes me and it bothers me. And a lot of it is tied to certain things I've experienced in my past, which I'm not ready to talk about right now, but I know that it's my pain point. And from my pain point, I have found my love of like speaking up and recording this podcast and like using my voice. But using my voice is driven by what brings me pain, what brings me pain on a personal level, and what brings me pain in society. And I promise you, when your mind is clear and you feel strong in your body and you have the money to spend on your mission and your purpose, like the path will appear to you. You don't need to spend months and years like figuring it out or coming up with some type of massive, detailed, intricate plan. It can be that simple. And that is the starting point. So the one thing I want you to take away from this episode is simplify your life and know yourself and commit to things that are feeding your soul. Learn to say no to things that are sucking away your energy, and surround yourself with people who are going to fuel your fire and who are going to, shine a brighter light on you instead of suppressing and dimming your light. That's what I'm going to leave you with today. I feel so much better after recording this episode, and I can't wait to have more conversations with all of you. I love getting some of the feedback, and just keep it coming, keep coming back. And next week we're going to have our first guest episode. I can't wait for you guys to listen to it. I'm not going to ruin the surprise, but come back here next week, share your thoughts with me. And until then, stay platinum. I love you guys so much.